Bienvenidos, estamos desde este segundo encuentro internacional de la Red Ecología Acústica México, un gran esfuerzo colectivo de académicos, artistas, investigadores, amantes del sonido, amantes del espacio en el que vivimos y donde desde prácticamente hace 2 jornadas, hoy es la tercera jornada, hemos estado trabajando desde la mañana hasta altas horas de la noche presentándoles diversas actividades que tienen que ver con este programa. Aquí en este segundo encuentro de la Red de Ecología Acústica México tenemos líneas de investigación que van desde sonido y arte, que es una de las líneas más robustas porque tenemos electroacústica, hay temas relacionados con la interdisciplina, la creación sonora y musical, las prácticas sociales y artísticas en torno a temáticas de género, en fin, pero también hablamos de bioacústica y ecoacústica, de urbanismo, de arqueoacústica, de prácticas de escucha, en fin. Usted puede encontrar toda la información relacionada con este encuentro en la página web www.rea-mx.org y nos puede seguir, por supuesto, como lo ha estado haciendo, en nuestro canal de YouTube, que es... usted busca YouTube y busca el canal de Red Ecología Acústica México y ahí encontrará también el archivo de todo lo que ha estado sucediendo en estas jornadas y también lo que sucedió en las primeras jornadas de la Red de Ecología Acústica México que tuvieron lugar en octubre del año pasado. A mí me corresponde ahora presentar otra conferencia especializada con las que hemos estado abriendo el programa matutino de estas jornadas. En este caso se trata de Morten Søndergaard, a quien le doy la bienvenida. Welcome, Morten. Your microphone is mute. There you go.
Thank you, Luz. It's nice to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you for being here. Y su plática en principio se consideró que iba a ser sobre el sonido, de hecho será sobre ello, prácticas artísticas, curatoriales y teóricas, hablando un poco del papel del museo, el papel de la academia, el papel de la difusión, prácticamente porque cuando pensé en hacer esta especie de curaduría matutina de conferencias especializadas, una de las cosas que me interesó mucho fue justamente poder introducir al diálogo elementos que nos permitan entender mejor, no nada más el fenómeno acústico, el fenómeno sonoro, sino en un contexto mucho mayor y quizás con una reverberancia también mucho más grande. Entonces, de hecho, de lo que vamos a hablar el día de hoy lo titulamos en inglés, hizo llegar el profesor Morten Søndergaard, Curating Silent Agencies, Sound, Art and Politics, y eso es específicamente lo que trataremos de armar nuestro diálogo alrededor de esto. Les quisiera también comentar que aquellos que nos están siguiendo a través de YouTube pueden hacer sus preguntas, comentarios, sugerencias en el chat que está provisto para ellos sin ningún problema. Y bueno, a mí lo que me gustaría hacer es poder presentar el currículum del maestro Søndergaard, quien, pues, como les menciono, ha estado trabajando con nosotros desde hace, pues, muchos años. Yo creo que es una de las alianzas que se establecieron prácticamente desde 2015 y 2016 con el Departamento de Artes y Humanidades de la Universidad Autónoma Metropolitana, y han salido desde cursos, conferencias conjuntas, redes de trabajo conjuntas muy interesantes. So Morten, I'm gonna make the honors and I'm gonna introduce you. Morten Søndergaard is Associate Professor and Curator of Interactive Media Art at Aalborg University, Denmark. He holds an interdisciplinary MA in Modern Culture and Art by the University of Copenhagen and a PhD in Performance Design at the University of Roskilde in Denmark. He's co-founder and academic director at Aalborg University of the Erasmus Master of Excellence Media AC program since 2014, and since 2012, he has been faculty member of the Media Art Histories Masters in Krems, Austria. He was curator, deputy director at the Museum of Contemporary Art in Roskilde, 1999 to 2008, and chair of the CultureNet Denmark Advisory Board and member of the New Media Forum, both hosted by the Danish Ministry of Culture, 2003-2007. He was co-founder and board member of the LARM Audio Archive Research Infrastructure Project 22 to 2014, where he also founded and chaired the research project on the unheard avant-garde, and is an ongoing project. And well, among many other activities, he was senior curator and general chair of the Renew Festival of Digital Arts in Copenhagen, 2010 to 2012, and co-founder and chair of ISACs, the Sound Art Curating Conference Series with Peter Weibel since 2013. He's also co-founder and chair of POM, Politics of the Machines Conference Series with Laura Beloff since 2017, and general chair of Resound MAH 2019 in Aalborg in August 2019. So he also is editor of special section of Leonardo Music Journal on Sound as Evidence 2020, and contributing editor at LAA, Leonardo Electronic Almanac. More to say about Morten, but I know you can find more of his info in his website, and also, of course, through our website at REA. But I would like to start our conversation, and so I will ask production to have both of us into the screen, because I would like to Morten maybe to introduce a little bit of our first section of our dialogue. We were talking about how to address this conversation here together, Morten, and I appreciate again your time and your effort to be here with us. But I was thinking
pleasure.
that this idea of meta curating is very is interesting to address. I think we have both been working parallelly with concepts in our area of research, which collides here and there every certain time. But this idea that we were talking about, that you propose about this meta curating, all this addressing all those ecological, ethical, political issues, how to frame curating, and also this could be addressed through sound or for sound and for other beyond sound. I mean, whatever other medium can it be? But how do we talk about the context we are in, and in face of the urgencies that we have as humans, as curators, as scholars, as artists. In my keynote, as I was saying, I was addressing this urgency of really, do we have time to start trying to build awareness among the public through museums and other formats of what's going on, or do we have to do something more radical? What will be the position of a curator in this case?
Yeah, thank you again for having me. And these questions are, of course, something that we have been discussing, as you also are mentioning. And what I wanted to address with this idea of meta curation, to think about curating, the very act of curating, in terms of exactly those questions, the silence that reverberated, you could say, without any reverberation during this current crisis, of course, of lockdowns and COVID as well. But other crises is also there to bring evidence to this fact that, like the immigration crisis in Europe and other places on the globe, that beyond the now and here of the media attention, the story of them wandering on the highways towards different countries, then they disappeared, they became silent, they are still in their refugee camps, for instance. The crisis is still there, but the whole situation grew silent. And I think that we all also experienced during this lockdown and crisis that, yes, on the one hand, of course, we could hear each other more than we are used to, because there were less technological noise around. But on the other hand, a lot of situations, a lot of things that we were used to engaging in just stopped. So we had this situation where we so to speak, met ourselves, or actually the situation where we might not meet ourselves again in some speculative future scenario, as Bruno Latour is pointing out. Actually, we have to think about a world without humans to be able to address the situation we are facing. And so the notion of silent agencies grew out of that question. How could we? The silent agencies refer specifically to the effects of social and geopolitical crisis, and as such, it's a way of looking for artistic and curatorial modalities that are operating with those effects beyond just mediating them and saying they are there, or as you said, also putting it on museums, into museums, saying, okay, we're actually killing almost all the birds or of certain species in the world, but what to do about it? So this kind of ethical, political questioning is what lies behind this idea of focusing on silent agencies. I also had as a background idea to this way of curation, the notion by Bruno Latour that he mentions in Gaia, the book from 2017, the instance that he comes across a lot of mute researchers. So and I'm thinking about parallel questioning this into the field of curation, that I think there's a lot of mute curators out there, and I think I've been myself a mute in a couple of instances as well, that are not designating a phenomenon that expresses itself silently on its own. So while it's imposing itself without any sign or intermediary on a totally passive human being, it's not really a realistic situation to be in curating or in research, not to address these matters. But the next question, of course, becomes how to do that, and I think that's where meta curation could be a step towards at least asking those questions, and then see if we could come up with some good ideas to how to address them in a different way than in maybe in more traditional museum and exhibition contexts as we know them. So that's kind of the framing of the idea of media curation. There's an ethical, there's a political, there is an existential framing that we need to address. There's also the notion from Bruno Latour, which is very you could say proliferant in my formulating this idea of silent agencies, and also of meta curation, that the matters of concern in relation to humans and our Umwelt, this surrounding world that we are navigating, are pointing us towards a situation where there's a profound alteration of our relationship to that Umwelt going on. And so there is not only, you could say, a curatorial or research issue and concern here. There's actually an existential concern. There's something at stake here, which goes beyond the mere, you could say, the mere in brackets question of art and artistic mediation, which curation maybe traditionally is seen as performing, right?
Exactly. Yes, and I was thinking about like what to do or how to do it. I was thinking about this idea that when we're talking about earth system sciences and related to what art and artists should do, what curators should do when we're talking about Earth as this space where we are, and this urgency that you're addressing is like, I remember Hans Joachim Schellnhuber stating that maybe what happens is that we humans, no matter from what discipline or what level of education, are opting for a self-inflicted ignorance, like this detachment, this silence of the agency. He was also saying we need an as a subject, but now we have a lot of people, scholars, of course, among them, and artists, thinking we need to leave nature to heal alone. But you said, like, how can nature heal alone? And then they go and pick sounds and make awareness of what's happening outside. And when we know that we are the inflictors, the inflictors of all this damage, and that there's no time. And he was saying something about this self-inflicted ignorance as a position that also runs from politicians to academia to the art world, where it's like we are not attached to what is going on in the world. So I think this is with this conference that you're organizing with Laura Beloff, Politics of the Machines, there's also this critical approach of how we should walk around the world, like doing, including these kind of conferences. For me, it's an opportunity to dialogue and talk and address these issues, but there's some other more conventional ways of addressing this. So how can we escape of that,
Yeah, consciously or not, I think I've been working a little bit on different models to do that throughout my career. In the beginning, it might not have been conscious, but what I've been looking into is to have, to actually consciously or purposely lose control of my own position, the old power position that I had in a museum, and then have other competences and a lot of other different voices coming into the perspective of how to address some of these questions. In the beginning, that was not that as I said, it was not a formulated strategy, but it's something that I have to say that I really found and still find is very valid. It might not be enough because we are still very much in our own secured space. What you're talking about, this that you opt to be ignorant, is maybe also an effect of actually trying to preserve an intellectual habitat, or so to speak, or political habitat, which you can control. So the loss of control is really the fear there. But I think that in some ways, we also need to puncture our very, very strong drive towards talking to people that are in the similar kind of resonant space than that we are, intellectually, politically. On the internet, we're talking about these tunnels that we create on social media, and I think culturally we're doing the same thing. There was this sociologist Howard Becker who wrote a book in the 80s about the art world, showing that there's a lot of different elements and people, competences, things going into constructing what an art world is. But in the end, it's self-containing, and of course, eliminating all what is not suited or doesn't fit into that construction. And I think we need, it happened before. I think it happened in the 60s that it was actually possible to create construct a new art world in a way. What was really radical in the 60s was perhaps even that you suddenly began using other competences or thinking of art as an information technology, as Kaprov did, right? So maybe we need something like that, but it would take, it will really mean that we need to go out of our own comfort zones. I think I'm also prone maybe to be a little too comfortable within, I love speaking to you, Luz, but we are still in the same kind of area, and we know each other, and we know this field of knowledge. So maybe people like us, we should go out and do something else. And actually, just to bring you into the picture here, Louis, you are working with people that are very much outside the art world. In Mexico, I know this, various projects where I've been working with other layers of knowledge and existence, and also ways of addressing different layers of crisis. Because I also think that we should think about crisis as a complex situation. It's not just one crisis. And one crisis is not just one crisis. It's a layer of very many different things that feed into what we then call this crisis. And in the end, I think what we need to address is really the way we think about the crisis as a crisis. Maybe this construction of normality and crisis, what we as artists and curators can do, what we did traditionally, and what is in front of us, which is maybe a whole new world order, which is of course a tall order. I just want to point your attention towards Jamie Allen, the wonderful artist and theoretician as well, who at the Resound conference, by the way, 1.5 years ago, did a keynote on the media reveal and his idea of that. And he speaks about this this tendency in critical art. I mean, art that tries to be critical about what is going on in the world and the crises that we have going on in the world, through media making, aimed at exposing and deposing power structures, etc. However, that these power structures often remain, so in the sense, the media reveal remains a gesture, as he says, a mere gesture. So he argues that given the current environmental and humanitarian crisis, we should consider how human activity through media helps to reimagine and re-engineer always changing planetary systems. So maybe the question here of media curation is really to assume that it's a kind of a simple step. You know, you step back and you say, okay, we need media research. We maybe even need a media curation of research, of artistic practices. It's not a way of control, but it's a way of asking ethical, political, and social and other questions, and environmental, of course, ecological questions, that can move our ideas about how to address these things into new directions. So reimagining would be something I would say is really in the center here. It's what we think about these things that needs to be also addressed. It's not only external. I mean, the crisis is not going on outside ourselves. It's also in the very construction of our own ideas, not only of crisis, but also of what is actually, as Latour is saying, the Gaia, the wholeness of it, all the stability or the balance. What is that?
Exactly.
We need a concept of that to actually be able to fix it, right?
Yeah, well, the other Latour idea that I want to bring over in the 5 minutes that we have left, it was, he said literally, why is that what we live in is as if we were not on Earth? Like, you know, he was we modern are not on Earth. Like we are beyond, you know, we are like some other species. And so why we're not identifying with this space, you know, that was one of the questions that was posing Latour among, you know, when he was rereading, representing Isabel Stengers and all these ideas around Gaia and around now with Gaia 2.0, you know, and also, as I said before, with this other idea of the Earth system sciences and the lack of agency and the lack or renouncing, giving up agency and politicians not doing their own job, and nobody doing their own job regarding this. So when we're talking about meta curating and as a way of addressing these issues that go beyond the art, like transdisciplinary issues, like talking about the ecology, the ethical issues around all of this, the political. And yes, as you said, we're just talking, so we're part of those talking heads, blah blah blah, but what should be next? Really, what should we be doing, and if we really have time for it, that would be one of the main questions. I think, these spaces that you're providing and your research itself allows for building this kind of dialogue outside of those. And like now, some people that are part of the scientific committee of this network of acoustic ecology, like Amanda Gutierrez and myself, we are proposing, along with other colleagues like Richard Kloszinski and also Jordan Lacey and Magic, we're proposing something for that space, and we're also questioning what should be the perfect format. Shall we go for this kind of online spaces where you can find a whole world built in, or shall we address the world as it is? Because that also is like escapism, so to speak. Try to find a way to present and to avoid the situation we're living in, which is a major crisis, political, humanitarian, and health issues. This year has been a year that allowed us to see what we did not want to see for the last 40 or more years, and so we're finally having here, and now we're finding the way to go around through the virtual world, and maybe that's not also the solution. So I think there's more questions than answers in this case. I don't know what you think about that. We have 1.5 minutes left.
Yeah, I know. Well, I just solved it in 1.5 minutes then. No, I think that we are really, there's a reason why I've been doing conferences more than exhibitions the last, 5-6 years, and maybe also education, because there is a chance and the possibilities there. There's a future because it's young people. You meet other people that you can then share with that are different than your own views. And I think that difference, to actually live in differences, is maybe one of the biggest challenges we are facing, because it's about our ideas, but it's also about that we are actually different than what is going on around us. And we cannot, and that's where I think meta curation can come in as a can opener in a way. We cannot imagine the world outside ourselves yet. The crisis is still so strange for us. It's something that we're grappling in words and we're talking, but the very essence, or you could say the effects of crisis we can see, but the very essence of crisis, what actually constitutes it, we need to come closer to that in order to actually be able also to see how we can fix it, maybe, if it's even possible. I don't think that perfect spaces is the right answer. It might not be, at least. I think that we need to look for mixed spaces and situations that are not what we expected, and meet and exchange with other knowledge groups and other experience layers of society and in the world in general, to be able to get closer to any kind of solution, if that even exists, right? But curation can and meta curation can give us a tool and a framing to address these questions beyond simply data and quantifiable phenomena.
Yes. Well, we need to say
Yes.
bye here, but I think this is a continuous of our permanent dialogue that we have here and there, and it's a pleasure always to talk to you and to bring ideas around. I think this meta curation concept is it could be addressed, and also I believe that something should be done. I think I differ a little bit from you that there's maybe nothing. Well, yeah, I think we should. We just need to find how, you know, because otherwise we're going to be blamed by future generations,
Absolutely.
if there are any,
Yes.
about our
Yes.
obliviousness, you know, like how we are behaving.
Yeah.
But I think on production says that this time is over now, but I really appreciate a lot that you accepted to be part of this open dialogue. I have to say that after the talk with Morten, we will have some activities related to this research on education and pedagogies, oral pedagogies, so pedagogías orales y educación en el sonido, because we have several kind of lines of work here at the threads, so to speak, here at the network. So what we are going to see in a minute is Sandra Gallo Corona with this conference, Ecos de Fauna, el paisaje sonoro como herramienta educativa, soundscape as an educational tool. This is going to start at 9:40. Pero muchísimas gracias, Morten Søndergaard de Aalborg University. Thank you very much.
Thank you
being
for
here.
inviting me.
And para los demás, el programa lo pueden encontrar en www.rea-mx.org. También en nuestras redes sociales pueden encontrar información, se pueden comunicar con nosotros. Vamos a establecer una campaña para que puedan integrarse más personas a esta red de redes, que es lo que es la REA, y donde cada miembro trae, de alguna manera, trae sus canicas, trae sus amigos, sus colegas, la gente con la que construye conocimiento y arte, y esa es un poco la invitación que hacemos. Nosotros podemos compartirlo y las personas que quieran unirse también. Estas conferencias especializadas y diálogos matutinos, en este caso curados por mí, tienen ese espíritu. Well, thank you very much, Morten, again.
Thank you.
Gracias a todos.